Greetings everyone, and I hope you're all happy and healthy out there in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/4 scale statue unboxing and review. And today it's the turn of Paul Atreides, aka Timothy Chalamet, as he appears in Denis Villeneuve's first instalment of the Dune trilogy based on Frank Herbert's 1965 classic science fiction epic. Brought to you by Prime One Studios and Blitzway. The review will take the usual format. We will have a quick look at this enormous box. It's in front of the details as it's way too big to get into shot over at the table. Then it will be out with Muad'Dib himself for a close-up look. Then we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual showcase at the end. But before we get into it, the usual round of shout-outs, background and updates. And firstly, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all of the channel subscribers for their patience over the past few weeks as the channel went dark. As you may or may not know, there was a wedding in the Go Figure household, followed by myself and Mrs. Go Figure taking vacation to sunnier climes for some well-deserved R&R. But we're back, and as you can imagine, I have returned to a huge backlog of figures and statues for review, so we will be back up to our regular breakneck speed in no time at all. As always, we'll list some of the goodies coming up on the channel at the end of the review, and if you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the new content we've got coming up, and trust me, there's a hell of a lot of it. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to William Wang over at One Man's Hobby for sourcing me this piece. If it's action figures or statues you're after, be sure to check out his website. There'll be a link in the description below as usual. So background. As regulars to the channel will know, I am a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve's take on Dune, and I'm also a huge fan of Prime One and Blitzway statues. Simply put, I think they are one of, if not the best quarter-scale statue maker out there at the moment. So this piece was always going to be a no-brainer for me. But that's enough of my ramblings. On to this box. And as with all Prime One and Blitzway statues, it is a large box and a hefty one too. Unopened, seals are still intact on this one, so it's a voyage of discovery for all of us. But I will attempt to manhandle this box around so we can get a close-up look at it without knocking the camera over. So I'm just going to have to move all my bits and pieces out of the way and see how close I can get to this thing. Right then. Well, straight away, what you're greeted with when you open the brown shipper is this rather fantastic artwork. Obviously, it's a picture of the statue itself. You've got this sort of wonderful Dune-style imagery in the background there. It's all done in these sort of oranges and brown colours, which are in keeping with the colour palette of the film itself. You've got two shots of the statue, one sort of head shot, if you will, and then the full body itself. It says Dune across the middle here. It says Paul Atreides, Still Suit Edition. And at the bottom, you've got the Prime One Studios and Blitzway logo. I will try and spin this thing round, as I say, without taking the camera out with me. On the left-hand side, you've simply got the House Atreides logo. If the camera's picking that up there, I believe it's the same story on the right-hand side, but we'll bring it round to see. And this is one heavy box, as I say, brand new. No, on the right-hand side, we have got all the credits and the warnings. If you're wanting to read those, please feel free to hit the pause button. Yeah, you've got the credits at the top there, the warnings in the middle there, and disclaimers. Don't piss this statue off, or you might find yourself attacked by a sandworm in your siege. At the bottom there, you've got the Prime One Studio and Blitzway logo again. We'll bring it round the back, and this is one hefty piece. And around the back, we've got some more pictures of the actual statue itself. These look like they may be artist renditions, maybe graphically enhanced, but yeah. Around the back, it says Dune and Paul Atreides again, Still Suit Edition. Fair to know at this point as well, this is the bonus edition, comes with an extra part. But yeah, these really, really nice sort of grayscale images of Paul himself, and the same credits and bits and pieces at the bottom there. I am not even going to attempt to lean this piece forward so we can get a look at the top, but take my word for it. What you've got on the top there is the House Atreides logo as well, again, as it was on the left-hand side. So yeah, that's the box, and enormous and heavy it is too. So without further ado, let's crack the seals on this big boy, dive over to the table and have a look at everything that Usul comes with. Okay, so statue unboxed, and we're over at the table to look at all the bits and pieces. Fair to say at this point as well, it's the usual high standard of Prime 1 Studio and Blitzway packaging. It's the 3-tier polystyrene pack system with the branded nylon safety straps to keep it secure. So, yeah, usual high standards there. We would normally start with the hands. There's a lot to go at here. You know me and my hands, and I'm normally jumping with the hands. But to create a bit of space, we're going to take a look at the base first and then look at all the other bits and pieces. The base itself is absolutely huge and carries a lot of heft to it. Very, very weighty indeed. What we come to expect from Prime 1 and Blitzway. But yeah, it's this enormous square base itself. We'll take a quick look at the bottom. If I can get this thing, if I can flip this thing over, and it weighs an absolute ton. So doing this without dropping it is going to be a little bit on the difficult side, but there we go. What you've got on the bottom of this very, very weighty base, if I can get this all in shot, is this rather nice Dune logo. It says Dune in the top left-hand corner. If I can get the camera to, get it all in shot. It says Dune across the top there. You've got 4 felt padded feet, one in either corner, which is great to see. Going to minimise movement, but I don't think you're going to get an awful lot of movement with this particular piece, simply because of its heft. It's a mixed media statue, so you're looking at polystone, plastic, metal in places, and material as well. But the bottom of the base says Prime 1 Studio and Blitzway. You've got premium masterline there. It says Paul Atreides Still Suit Edition. Because of the bonus part, this is a limited edition. This is 105 of 320, and then you've got the copyright and other bits and pieces at the bottom there. So yeah, that's the underneath of this behemoth of a base. Let's flip it round and get it flat again. Well, let's take a look at the front first, actually. Now, the base itself is styled, and it feels pretty much like it's solid polystone due to the weight here, but you've got this sort of black edging, this sort of matte black edging around the sides, and on the front you've got this beautifully painted gold inlay of the sandworm itself. This particular image features in the palace, the Arrakeen Palace on Dune. You've got a metal nameplate that's been etched there with the Dune logo. The paint applications on this relief section are really, really nice. The gold paint is absolutely spot on, and then it's been given a black wash to pick out all the details, and you've got the sandworm in the back there as well, Shai Hulud roaming in the back there, which is very, very nice. The top of the base, let's see if we can't just lay this thing flat. And the top of the base is designed obviously to replicate a landscape of the planet itself. You've got sand effect. Now this is all polystone, and then you've got this rock outcropping. In the right hand side here, there's the pegged hole. There's one peg on the left foot. The right foot rests on the rocks themselves. The sand is done really, really well. You've got waves and lines in there. There are paint applications to pick out the shading in the deeper parts of the waves in the sand. There's even a footprint in there where his foot rests. And I don't know whether the camera's actually picking this up, but and I only spotted this a moment ago. If I can catch the light right. What Prime 1 and Blitzway have done here is actually put, I would say it's silver paint, but it's reflective dots of paint. I'm not sure if the camera's catching that. I hope it is. But they've actually put, as I say, it looks like, I'm not saying glitter, it's more like silver dots of paint on the sand area, which give it that reflective look across the surface, which replicates the spice on the surface of the sand itself. You have to get really close and get the right light on it, but it's just that attention to detail that Prime 1 and Blitzway are known for, and I just think that's really, really fantastic. And I only noticed it by accident, but yeah, then you've got this huge polystone outcropping here, which is really, really well done. There's multiple paint applications on here to replicate the stone effect. There's blacks, there's browns, there's lots of different shades in there. Really, really well done. And if I flip this thing round, what they've done at on this left hand side here, and I will lift this up so you can see it. the rocks themselves are actually breaking through the side of the base itself. There are cracks in there, and it looks like the whole rock outcropping is breaking through the side of the stand itself. Very, very nicely done, I have to say. Nothing around this side, but yeah, that's the base. I think it is fantastic. I think it's with statues these days, there is a tendency to go absolutely crazy with huge diorama bases that I think can detract from the statue, to be honest with you. And they have an enormous footprint and can be problematic when you're displaying them. I think Blitzway and Prime 1 have nailed it with this. It's just right. It is not too big that it takes away from the piece itself, but it's done well enough to ground the figure, to place the figure, and to give it context. So yeah, there you have it. That's the enormous base that this statue comes with. So what we'll do is we'll put this to one side. If I can lift this out of shot without dropping it, placing it carefully to one side, and we'll have a look at the other stuff that comes with the statue. Okay. Let's get the mundane stuff out of the way first. Let's take a look at the instructions. You get an instruction booklet, really nicely done. This high quality paper, super high gloss with a picture of the statue on the front there. Yeah, inside you've got all the bits and pieces of information you need to construct this statue. I would recommend reading this, with it being multimedia, with there being small parts. I am not going to do that man thing and throw these instructions to one side. I am going to carefully read them before constructing this particular piece. But yeah, everything's covered in there, and there are some nice photographs at the back there as well. So we'll put those to one side. You also get this rather nice certificate of authenticity. Comes in this card sleeve with Prime 1 and Blitzway on the front. And yeah, you just get this really thick card with Paul Atreides in this high gloss silver foil lettering. Once again, you've got the House Atreides emblem in the center there. It says Dune, and around the back you've got a list of all the people involved in the creation of this particular piece. So yeah, that's a nice addition and a nice touch. So we'll put that to one side. What else do you get? Let's get onto the hands. I am eager to get onto the hands. There are 4 hands in total. Now, I believe these hands, and I'll get them into as close into camera as I can. I believe these hands are actually made out of plastic. Yeah, they are. They're a very, very rigid plastic. Now, because of the nature of the weapons here, the weapons are plastic as well. It may be a hairdryer or hot water job when you're actually attaching these weapons. So I would say exercise caution, because these are an exceptionally tough plastic. But yeah, let's have a look at the detailing on here. And straight away, the detailing looks absolutely on point. The creasing in there, the knuckles have done really, really well. The paint applications to create that material look, and the variations in colour and type of material, absolutely spot on. Look 100% screen accurate to me. The colour's on point. It's this sort of deep browny olive colour mixed in with blacks, but there's weathering in there as well. And the way the weathering's been done, and I've noticed this on the body as well, it's been done really subtly to sort of indicate sand, small amounts of sand in the crevices. Which is really, really nice to see. So yeah, absolutely on point. Magnetically attached to the arms, as always with Blitzway statues. So you get one gripping hand. There are 2 open palm, well, I'll say open palm hands. They're slightly more open palm, but we'll take a look at those when we look at the main body itself. So you get this gun hand and knife hand, essentially. Yeah, the gun hand as well is done to exactly the same high standards there. The paint applications and the sculpt really would make you think that this is material. It's down to that sort of fine weave effect that you get if the camera's catching that in the sculpt and the paint applications. But yeah, very, very well done. 4 hands in total. As I say, we'll look at the other 2 when we bring out the main body itself. We'll put those to one side. So we've looked at the hands. Let's look at the weapons. Now, we'll start with the holster. Now, this is the holster for the Atreides battle knife, which Paul wears. Now, this is made out of nylon. It feels like a nylon material. It's Velcro attached there. The holster itself is plastic. Yeah, it feels plastic. There's a certain amount of flexibility and give in there, which is good to see. It's got the House Atreides symbol on there. There are paint applications on there to give it a metallic look. Detailing is nice and on point, screen accurate. We will bring some pictures out of Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides when we take a look at the head sculpt. But the still suit itself, getting close-up photographs to do a comparison is difficult. I have revisited the film, and I have to say, the accuracy is what we've come to expect from Prime 1 and Blitzway with the still suit itself. But yeah, that's the sheath for, and we might as well, while we're here, take a look at the actual House Atreides battle knife. This is plastic. All one piece of sculpted plastic. Paint applications are really nice here. There's some silver touches on the rivets to give them that depth and that realism. The House Atreides emblem is on the hilt of the knife as well. Relatively straightforward, but great paint applications, and yeah, just very, very well done. And that simply slots into the sheath there, so and attaches via those Velcro fastenings. So yeah, that's the House Atreides battle knife. We'll put that to one side. Also comes with the Kreis knife, Chinese Kreis knife. This is really nicely done, I have to say. Straight out of the packaging, I was very, very, very impressed with this, and I still am. It's the paint applications that really make this. All one piece of sculpted plastic, as I said, but you will be forgiven from a distance for thinking that this is actually ivory. The paint applications are that well done. It's got that super high gloss finish, which then fades into a deeper brown towards the hilt. It's got that sort of those Fremen etchings towards the hilt as well, which have been done been picked out with darker paint applications, and there's a super high gloss sheen to it, which is screen accurate. The hilt itself, once again, it has those Fremen etchings in the handle there. There's weathering on there to give it that slightly worn look and used look. There are dints and dinks in it and cracks in the handle itself, but overall, yeah, fantastic job there from Prime 1 and Blitzway. Like I say, there's the standards that we've come to expect. So yeah, that's the Kreis knife. We'll put that to one side. What else do you get? Ah, yes, the spring gun. Now, this is obviously not a Fremen weapon. This is an Atreides weapon. This is the bonus part that comes with this particular statue. It folds away, and I believe that if you pull this section out here, and then what happens is this section here folds down, so you can actually stow it away in his belt, or you can have him holding it. All one piece of sculpted plastic, obviously with that hinge in there for the handle to drop down. Colours are screen accurate. Sculpting is really good. Paint applications on point. As it is all plastic, but it has a metallic look and a feel to it. There's sort of silver dry brushing in there, and it just picks out the details really well. This darker grey area here. No real weathering on this because you don't see it that often in the film, but yeah, great sculpt, great paint applications, and screen accuracy on point. So they're not missing a beat here, as always. Prime 1 and Blitzway. So we'll fold that away and pop that to one side, and get onto the big stuff. We'll take a look at his cape first. Now, this is the cape that he wears when he's actually in the desert on Arrakis, and I have to say, first impressions are very, very good. If I can get this opened up, you can see the material here is super accurate to the material of the. Well, I call it a cape. It's more of a tunic, a long tunic with a hood. But yeah, the material itself is a sort of a cotton. I mean, I don't know if you're children of the 70s will remember cheesecloth. It has a cheesecloth feel to it. It's just really, really nicely done. The stitching is excellent, and they've not been too super accurate with the stitching. And if I've actually referred back to some stills of this, and it was a little rough around the edges. And it was meant to look rough around the edges, and they've captured that really, really, really well. So they've not gone super accurate with the stitching, but they haven't gone crazy with it, so it falls apart. As you can see there, the stitch work in that edge there, where the wiring has been sewn in, is super accurate. But yeah, if we turn this thing around, you can see it's double layered, apart from one section at the back there. which is a lot more translucent because it's not double layered, but the edges are frayed at the bottom here, which once again is screen accurate. It has the two, and if I can get this into shot, it has these two ties which wrap around the face and neck, and there's a hood as well. Just really nicely made, great choice of materials, and the screen accuracy is on point. And as I mentioned at the top there, two wires running from the collar section here right the way down the front of the cape to the hem at the bottom. It's a sort of a medium wire. It's not too fine, it's not too thick, and it will be basically that is there so you can pose it in a more dynamic way. You can have him you can have it catching the wind and flowing behind him. So yeah, there you have it. That is the cape stroke cloak. We'll pop that to one side. Let's take a look next at his mask. Now this is the full face mask that he has while he's on Arrakis. I won't be displaying it with this full face mask. I think the head sculpt is that good, and I've had a peek at it already. Is that good that I think it would be a shame to cover it up. But this is a display option if you want to swap it out, if you're getting bored with the look, or if you just want it around his neck rather than on his face. It's this sort of canvas material. Once again, it's that olive green stroke brown canvas material. Really nice stitch work on there. It's lined on the inside. There's a Velcro fastening, so you can fasten it around the back of his head with the Velcro. The filter on the front here is plastic. There's a hard piece of plastic underneath as well, but that's been covered by the material. And once again, you've got that subtle weathering on there, not overdone, and it suggests a sort of sandblasted effect, almost as if there's dust on there, which is really nicely done again. So yeah, that's the filter mask. We'll pop that to one side. We'll take a quick look at his backpack. This is very heavy, this stillsuit backpack, I have to say, because it's a combination of material, of polystone, and I believe what may very well be plastic, but I'm not certain about this bottom part. Once again, screen accuracy is there, as far as I can see. This section here in the centre is all polystone, but the sculpt is that good that it does actually look like a sort of a canvas material. It's been really well done. The paint applications in there, just to give it that slight hint of weathering at the edges where it's creased. Coming down to this bottom sort of roll section here, which is attached by two canvas straps. And then you have this part at the bottom here, which is painted that olive green as well, with the lettering on there, the Fremen lettering. The rear of the actual backpack is made of material, and it's a canvas and nylon mixture by the looks of it. Once again, it's reflecting that olive colour. You've got these canvas straps for attaching it to the statue itself. I believe these buckles are plastic. They're not cold to the touch, but they're plastic, so that ties it, I believe, across its shoulder and attaches there, but we'll come to that when we construct it. So yeah, that's the backpack, and very hefty it is too. And it's also got this material section at the top here. It's covered in what feels like the same material that the actual cape is made out of. Maybe that's meant to replicate that cape material. So yeah, that's the backpack. Very hefty, very solid, very screen accurate. Next, we will take a look at the body. Now we'll bring this out as one piece and have a look at this. Now, just see if we can get all this into shot. Now, this is where this piece really starts to come to life here. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. I think it speaks for itself. It's all polystone, apart from the hands, obviously, which are plastic as well. I believe these hands are plastic. Actually, these are plastic as well. That same rigid plastic. But the rest of this, apart from the breathing tube, I believe, is all polystone. And the sculpt and paint application on here really would convince you otherwise if you were looking at this from any distance. The actual sculpt on the boots, on the feet here. We'll take a look at the bottom. We'll start with the feet and work our way up like we always do. The tread on there is great. There's weathering on the tread of those boots. Obviously, you've got that peg there to attach it to the base itself. Moving up, you've got the actual leg sections they've got these sort of shin guards which are painted to look, they look like that nylon canvas. They almost feel like nylon canvas when you actually touch them. Moving up, you've got the pads on the knees, and all of this is covered in that really subtle sand style weathering that I mentioned before. You can see that around the back there as well in these sections, in these darker sections. The suit itself, and we'll try and get this in the back section in here, because the detail is absolutely phenomenal here. It really is. There are some, I believe this section across the top actually might be plastic, because you've got these sections, the straps over the shoulders and the straps around the waist feel like a hard plastic. So it's sort of, I think this section on the top here may very well not be polystone. It may be plastic. Yeah, it feels like it is. So underneath is polystone, but this these shoulder sections and the neck area feel like they may be plastic. Yeah, they are a hard plastic, but yeah, we'll bring it closer in so you can see this this tube which catches the moisture coming out of Paul's nose when he's breathing. That's it's not a wire, it's just a thin plastic. So I would say exercise caution with that if you're going to be displaying that attached to him. It is quite flimsy, may come away easily, but you simply attach those to the nostrils of the head sculpt if you're wanting to display it that way. So yeah, overall the screen accuracy looks on point, the paint applications are phenomenal, the proportions are spot on, the weathering is just right, just enough but not too much. So yeah, there you have it. That's the body. Oh, almost forgotten, there's the shield generator on the arm there. That's painted with silver paint applications to give it that metallic look, with a bit of darker washing on there to give it some depth. But yeah, overall phenomenal work there from Prime 1 and Blitzway. So we'll put that to one side, and let's take a look at the cherry on the cake. Probably the most important part of this statue is the head sculpt itself. So let's bring this into shot. So here he is. It's Paul himself. First impressions, I have to say, are absolutely phenomenal. I keep using that word, phenomenal. I'll try and use a different word. Amazing. Let's go with amazing. I knew what I was getting. I'd done my research on this piece prior to ordering it, and it really was that. I wouldn't say it's the head sculpt that sold it 100%, but I am super impressed. I think Prime 1 and Blitzway's head sculpts are just improving all the time. I have the Ellen Ripley, the Aliens Ellen Ripley, and I thought that was an amazing head sculpt, but I think this one could possibly top even that. You've got mixed media going on here. This cape section, well, I say cape, it's a hood section around the neck, is material. It's not polystone or plastic, but the colours are right. The stitch work is really nice, and it falls really well. The hair itself is a hard plastic, and I'm glad they've gone that hard plastic route, to be honest with you. Because when I took this thing out of the box, I was a little concerned that these wisps of hair would break very, very easily if they'd done this in polystone. But the good news is they've gone for multiple different types of plastic. There's a sort of a super hard plastic underneath, the wispy sections around the top and around the back there are done in a much softer plastic, so there's flexibility to them. So no real danger there of snapping any of these bits of hair off. I think the solution that they came up with there is a very, very good one indeed. I think had they tried to do a rooted hair head sculpt, and I know they're doing a rooted hair version of the Al Pacino, the Scarface Al Pacino, which is due out soon. Probably an easier hairstyle to do, but yeah, had they gone the rooted hair, it might have been a lot more difficult, because he's got a, shall we say, a unique head of hair, Mr. Chalamet, and replicating that can't be the easiest thing in the world. So I think this solution is most certainly the best one. But yeah, let's get the head sculpt in and have a closer look at it. Absolutely on point as far as I'm concerned. That head sculpt, bang on. That's Timothy Chalamet from any angle as far as I'm concerned. Let's bring in a photograph actually at this point before this turns into a gush fest, so we can just have a quick look at the at the accuracy on this. Let me just... difficult to find a photograph with any consistent hair with Mr. Chalamet. He's got a unique, as I say, unique head of hair, and it tends to go all over the place, so each photograph tends to be different. But I've sort of gone with this one here as a comparison, because it's sort of from around the same point in the film that they're trying to capture here. And yeah, it sort of speaks for itself, that, doesn't it? I mean, even some of these other photographs down here, you can actually see. We'll try that one there. Let's just bring that one up. Yeah, absolutely nailed it. They really, really have the sculpt is 100% on as far as I'm concerned. And the paint applications then really add an extra depth to it. I'll bring that photo back in, even down to the moles and the imperfections in the skin on this cheek here and around the mouth area are nailed on. They really are. But the eyes are nice and glassy, and I'm glad that they've gone for. I was sort of hoping that maybe they would do a swap out head with the spice drenched eyes, the blue eyes. But the fact that they've gone for a look earlier on in the film before he gets that blue eye. I was a little disappointed, but now actually in hand, I'm glad they went this route because those eyes are absolutely spot on, super glassy, the right colour, the eyebrows are on point, the eyelashes are even on, have been painted in as well. Skin texture, great. Paint applications, superb, and just, yeah, I cannot find fault with that head sculpt from every angle. To me, that is Timothy Chalamet. So, yeah, there you have it. That's the head sculpt. So, as I said before, this turns into a gush fest. Let's construct this whole thing and take a look at the finished product. And we may do a couple of takes on this so we can have a look at the different looks that you can get from this particular statue. So, without further ado, let's cut to the completed Timothy. Okay, so here he is. It's Paul Atreides himself, aka Timothy Chalamet, aka Muad'Dib, aka Usul, lots of AKAs. But yeah, construction process, relatively straightforward. No real issues there. A couple of things to look out for, I would say, is when you're attaching the belt with the Atreides battle knife, and in particular attaching this backpack with the Velcro fastenings. With the backpack being made out of polystone, it's exceptionally heavy, so you want to be really, really careful that you've got it spot on when you put this strap across the front here, and that the Velcro is fully matched. Wouldn't want this falling off. This drops from any height and it's going to end up chipped or broken, and you'll end up in a world of hurt if that happens. But yeah, so exercise some caution when putting the backpack on. Apart from that, as far as I can see, everything is absolutely nailed on. What we've come to expect from Prime 1 and Blitzway, the materials that have been used, the screen accuracy, the paint applications, that phenomenal head sculpt, the wonderful but not overdone base. As I mentioned earlier on when we're looking at the accessories, I'll just pan down to this base because it's difficult to get all this beast into shot. But yeah, I think Prime 1 and Blitzway made a really, really good choice with this base. They've not turned it into a monstrosity. It's not overpowering the figure. I think the paint applications, that rock outcrop, the sand, the front plate here, just all absolutely nailed on. The pose itself, let's pan back up so we can get him mostly in shot. I think that I was a little bit unsure of the pose, but I actually, now I've got it in hand and I've got it in front of me, I think it works really, really well. Let's just angle him a little bit so you can see this. Obviously, you'll see more of this in the showcase at the end, but I think the pose they went for here is absolutely spot on. Not that there is motion in there is action in there. You can obviously you can muck around with this wide cape to give it that sense of motion. There's just enough motion in there, but just enough sense of the regality, if that's a word, of presence. I think they've hit the sweet spot here with the pose. I am not using the spring gun, as I mentioned in the accessories section. I prefer the Christ knife look. I think it is more it's more iconic, and I won't be using this mask. My only complaint about this mask is that well, one, if you have it full face, then it's going to cover up the face, and you're going to miss out on that wonderful head sculpt as I mentioned before. But also, if you try and position it so it's around the neck, but resting on his chest, it's difficult to get these sections to lay flat. And with so much going on around the neck area, with that wired cloak, with the two wraps that go around either side, and with the sort of built-in head sculpt hood, for want of a better expression, you've got so many layers going on around the neck, it tends to build up a little bit too much, and it gets a little bit crowded and cluttered under there. So I won't be using this. If I do use it, I will use it maybe later on when I want to swap out and get a different look, and I will go with the full face look. But for the time being, I'm leaving it off. Also, as well, another thing to mention, as I said, this the nose plug. The moisture capturing nose plug is a little delicate on the delicate side. And also as well, if you are going to use this, and I won't be using this in the display, but if you are going to use it, when you're attaching it to the nose there, be super careful, because it's very tight and it'll be very easy to leave black paint around the nostril area. But apart from those things, I think this is absolutely phenomenal. I think once again, Prime 1 and Blitzway they've not just knocked it out of the park, they've knocked it into several different parks simultaneously. I think it's absolutely amazing. The head sculpt, spot on. The choice of materials to go with the plastic hair rather than the polystone hair, great idea. Yeah, paint applications, everything is just nailed on 100%. So as viewers to my channel will know, if I can't find anything wrong with a statue or figure, I've got to give it a 10, and this is a straight 10. No arguments from me. So that about wraps it up, bar the showcase. What are your thoughts on this piece? Drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd be fascinated to hear what's your take on the film, what's your take on the character, what's your take on Prime 1 and Blitzway in this particular piece. I would be really, really interested to hear your opinion, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. And I suppose that about wraps it up for this review, bar the showcase, obviously. I suppose all it remains for me to say, before we go, yeah, what's coming up on the channel? I mentioned at the top there, we have got a lot of stuff coming in. A lot of it's already arrived while we were in lockdown, so to speak, and that'll be coming up for review very, very quickly. And there's a lot of other stuff on its way as well. In the quarter scale statue world, we have got the Prime 1 N52 Batman. That's coming in pretty soon. In the 1/6 scale world, we have got a raft of stuff. There's the Toys Battalion Taboo, aka Tom Hardy. That's the legendary merchant figure. We've got Exo-6's Krug and Savick from Star Trek. From present toys, we've got Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men, Ripley from Aliens, Kaneda from Akira. Premiere toys, we've got the Interstellar Double Pack. We've got Furiosa and Dementus. From Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. We've got the Doof Warrior from Mad Max Fury Road. We've got a raft of NECA 110 scale stuff. The list goes on. Caustic Plastic. We've got Chuck Norris. We've got Toshiro Mifune. Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera. From Hot Toys, we've got Kidpool coming in pretty soon as well. And also as well, almost forgot to mention, and hopefully this review will be going up at the weekend, we have a very special custom piece coming in. And Go Figure's first foray into the 1-to-1 scale bust world. I'm not going to give any clues away at this point in time. Suffice it to say, the power of Christ compels you. At least to watch this channel anyway. But that's enough of my ramblings about what's coming up on the channel. So all it remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Hope it's been useful for you. As I say, drop a comment in the comment section below. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase. Hey!